Shalom from the National Council of Young Israel, here at our headquarters in Paramus, New Jersey. We are happy to launch our newest program under the guidance of our new board of directors called 4 Minutes of Torah. Each and every week, you'll be introduced to a new Rav within the Young Israel movement who will share with you words of Torah. With that very happy introduction, let us begin.
Shalom Aleichem, this is Rabbi Yaakov Trump, and I want to thank the National Council of Young Israel for the opportunity to learn with you these few minutes in Parshas Korach. When looking at Parshas Korach, one has to ask oneself the very basic question. Korach is ostensibly an intelligent, well-accomplished, and self-motivated individual. Clearly, he's able to galvanize the people to the rebellion that he was able to. And you have to ask yourself so why would he take such a risk? After all, Moshe Rabbeinu had already said to him that the way the competition is going to play itself out is that everybody's going to bring their fire pans, stand in front of the base in the Mishkan, and the person who HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses will be the one who is holy. Now, it's not too long in national consciousness that there were other people who played around with Cedarhurst, with the incense, and they got burnt up alive. Their names were Nadav and Avihu. So to be very clear, that Moshe Rabbeinu is essentially saying this is a zero-sum game. Only one person is going to walk out, and the rest are not going to be admonished. They're not going to be shamed. They're going to be dead. So why would Korach put himself into such a high-stakes gamble? After all, just take it easy. Perhaps write an op-ed in the local paper. Have a debate. But clearly at this point in time, shouldn't he back off when he sees how high the stakes are? So Rashi quotes a Tanchuma, a fascinating Tanchuma, which says that, you know why Korach felt so confident? Is because he saw in the future that he would be the father of a great prophet whose name was Shmuel HaNavi, and Shmuel HaNavi was in fact equal in weight to both Moshe and Aaron in a certain perspective, on a certain matrix. Moshe va'Aaron b'kor Hanavu, Shmuel b'kor Shmuel, as we say in Tehillim Tzadita. So he felt confident that the fact that he would be the progenitor of such a Shmuel, he could succeed. In fact, it's more than just we'll call it family and genealogy, mishpachology. It's actually in fact in the very theme. If you take a look at the beginning of Sefer Shmuel Aleph Perek Gimel, you'll notice that when Shmuel ascends to power, it's at the time where there is another leader there already. His name is Eli. Eli HaKohen is the Kohen Gadol, and he is the Shofet of the time. Shmuel becomes the vehicle for the prophecy which undoes Eli. Eli does not look after his children, Chofni and Pinchas, correctly, and because of that, he is punished. Shmuel becomes the vehicle of the prophecy which tells Eli that he and his family will die and be cursed forevermore. Therefore, Korach, perhaps looking into that future, sees here you have an individual who's a Levi, like himself, who is unseating both the Kohen Gadol and the political leader of the time, the Shofet. Isn't that akin to what Korach feels he's doing himself? He feels that he is unseating Moshe and Aaron, the political and spiritual leader of the time, and he feels that he is warranted to do so. And that's perhaps Korach's rationale as to why he'll be safe. Not why he's making the argument, but why he feels safe in making his argument, even if it's a zero-sum game. Why is he incorrect? So the Midrash says he was incorrect because he doesn't realize that his children would do teshuvah. What does that mean? It comes down to a very fundamental idea which is incredibly important when it comes to our decision making itself. And that is, as is explained in a very beautiful sefer called Yismach Moshe, he says that the Midrash continues to say, what else is it that Korach saw to start this machlokes? It says he saw the laws of Para Aduma. Para Aduma always seems to come up where you least expect it, but what does this mean? So he explains the following. When was the laws of Para Aduma actually given? It was given in Mara. That's just as Israel exits the Yam Suf. At that point in time, as we know, that the Para Aduma is coming symbolically and metaphorically to clean up the Tzoas Beno, the mistake made by the children by the Egel Azav, which means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is already giving the refuah, the antidote, Kodem Lamaka, before the problem that's going to arise at the Cheta Egel a number of days later on. Which means to say there's a certain notion of potential which exists even in the free choice that human beings are about to exert in the future. Korach is looking at the same problem as well. What the Medrash is emphasizing is that Korach may see a future, he may even see a future descendant who will unseat the Kohen Gadol and the political leader. He'll be the vehicle of that. But you know what the difference is? Is that the reason that'll happen is because Shmuel made good decisions about his life. Is because Shmuel was a tzaddik. Is because Chofni and Pinchas made bad decisions in their life. It's dependent on free will, things which are not yet to be. They may exist in potential, but they don't exist in actual. And Korach perhaps projected his own perspective, his own vendetta, his own ill will to his children. And that's not true. They had the opportunity of changing. They had the opportunity of making their own legacy and destiny. And therefore the future that he saw was not because of him, but it was despite him. Which is why it's very beautiful that the Megaleh Amukos points out that the Chida points out in Sefer Shmuel at the very beginning that in fact it is because of the schus of Shmuel that Korach is able to exit a Gehenna himself. That means to say Shmuel ultimately is the opposite way around, is the one to save Korach, not the one who gives him the rationale for his argument. A lot of food for thought in terms of our own decision-making process and how we project our own values upon our children. Have a wonderful and meaningful Shabbos.